As we move on down the highway, our next stop is Metropolis, home of Superman. I am standing in downtown Metropolis, right outside of the Chamber of Commerce, and there's something pretty super here. Metropolis, Illinois, they say is a super city. Downtown Metropolis, Illinois, and there's Big Boy right down there holding up that burger. He's not the only big person in town. What? There's somebody in trouble down the street. Truth, justice, and the American way. Up, up, and away! This is the official tour bus stop for the greatest American hero. No, not that fellow that was played by the curly blonde-headed dude. This is the Man of Steel. Oh wait, there's more. There's a Superman museum. This is the Superman Museum in Metropolis, Illinois, and there is a lot of Superman memorabilia and toys in here.
Thank you.
So if you're into Superman,
Go in and go to your right. You can do a big circle.
overwhelmed Superman stuff. Look at this. The old Metropolis sign. This is a really neat roadside attraction. Look at this sign. There's Clark Kent. And when you pan around, Clark turns into Superman. This office equipment from back in the early days. Yeah, this was back before there were PCs. That stands for personal computers. This, young folks, is what they call a typewriter. Look. Now looking at this early costume for Superman, it's gray and kind of brown. Well, remember back in those days they filmed in black and white. Everything was gray and brown. All this stuff, look. I'm Batman. There is the Man of Steel himself. Lots of Superman toys. Doomsday. Old comic books. A lot of steel photographs of the Man of Steel.
That would have been that costume.
So this is what the costume would look like on TV. This is what it looks like in real life. Some of the clothing from one of the old TV shows. Clark Kent's glasses. Oh, look at this. And you thought that Christopher Reeve's hair was real in the movie? Not. Because here's his wig. And Marlon Brando's wig when he played Cheraw from the 1978 movie. And look, a Lois Lane poster with all these signatures. Well, I just found out something. Lois Lane died. I did not know that. 2018. This Nikon camera was used in the Hoover Dam scenes in 1978. It's made from foam rubber. Jimmy Olsen's costume. This is an original costume worn in the 1978 original Superman costume worn by Christopher Reeves. Right overhead, this is from the 1980 scene on the moon, Superman 2. These are Krypton power crystals from around 1978. They're actual props used by Marlon Brando and Christopher Reeve. In one scene, a crystal was thrown to erect the Fortress of Solitude, while the other crystal was used to power the starship of Kal-El, son of Cheraw and Laura of the planet. These little figures, and there's one here, and there's Superman. These were used during production for distant flying scenes. With the help of miniature sets and rear screen projection, these rubber models were put into the sets, and the illusion of flight was accomplished. The scenes were very convincing after the final edit. This was long before CGI. They actually used models to convince people that a man really could fly. Yeah, Superman had these on his desk. Do you remember the scene? There is a Letterman's jacket from Smallville High. More old costumes used in the TV show. As we get into a little modern times, there's Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher's costumes from the Superman TV show, Lois and Clark. From 1994 to 1997. Gracious, does not seem that long ago. Lois Lane's wedding dress when she married Clark Kent. And George Reeves, different from Christopher Reeve. That's where I got confused. There's Christopher Reeve and there's George Reeves. This was the first Superman that I ever saw on the old black and white TV with rabbit ears. Wow. So it's these postcards. George Reeves would pass these out. Rarely did he sign anything. He would just pass these cards out. Now these things are worth up to $3,000. Used to give them away just for free. These things look kind of corny now, but they look really scary in the 1951 Little People, where they portrayed the Mole Men. This thing right overhead, right here, was called a flying pan, used from 1951 to 1953, in which the actor would lay in it and cables would be connected to it to make him appear that he was flying. As I showed earlier, the gray and brown costume, this one's a little different. This costume was used in one of the first Superman films that were filmed in color, worn by Christopher Reeves from 1951 to 1957. This Superman statue is the largest Superman statue in the world. It's 15 foot tall and he weighs over 6,000 pounds. They say that the Superman statue was ordered on November 17, 1992. Oh, pretty cool. What a drawing card for a small town, Metropolis. Well, this was not on our radar. Had no clue it was even here until we saw a sign. So Debbie, what did you think?
It was amazing to see all the artifacts and originals that are in the museum here.
It's a big plus, and this is what happens is when you take a road trip and you basically do what we're doing, flying by the seat of our pants. Well, it's time to get back on the road. So let's move on. Fighting for truth, justice, and the American way.